Good evening, Americans. Good morning, bright and early Europeans. I don't really know what you're up to, Australia. Welcome to the Day 9 Daily, episode number 689, I think, where we learn to be a better gamer. In today's episode, we're going to take a look at a fantastic style of TvP from Maru, who I'm going to call Maru Prime every single time, so just deal with that. It's an extremely aggressive style centered around the Widow Mine. Very often when you watch a show, I'll look at a game and drill really deep into it, talk about a lot of the stuff. Here we're going to look at 5 or 6 games of Maru's journey to the round of 8 that will highlight this juncture in the mid-game where Maru decides to go mine. We'll see when he decides not to go mine. We'll see when the mine decision goes wrong, and we'll see many ways in which things feed into it. The short gist of everything is that mine play is used for Maru when he sees Templar-based play. He stops when he begins to see Colossus. That's about it. That's the basic gist of what I want you to understand. Mines in mid-game versus Zealot Templar, not versus Colossus. We'll look at that in grand detail. That's about it. Before we go into the rest of the show, tomorrow is the Decktacular, where I'm going to do actually a pretty legitly kick-ass mage, a little bit of an aggro mage. Wonderful now that Tinkmaster Overspark is gone. On Thursday, we're going to take a look at, come on, brain. SOS's Protoss versus Zergs, some really cutesy early game opening stuffs on Thursday, and then Friday I have a special game for you. Next week is GDC, so I'm going to be doing regular shows, no Fun Day Monday. I'm doing a talk on how to keep a community. And I see everyone typing Kappa in the chat because of my shirt. That is one way to keep a community, Kappa. The important tips I've learned from Twitch about maintaining a community are that the song is always Sandstorm by Darude. Everyone who's watching is actually in Grandmaster, Kappa. And of course, when in doubt, raise your dongers. Anarchy! I think that's the core of holding a community together. So let's talk about Terran vs. Protoss, shall we? You're worried about all-ins, the Terran player. Is he going to go big gateway push or blink push or this, that, the other? There seems to be so many things going on. Can there be guiding principles to help us? Here is one thing we can say for fact. A Protoss player who's going for a long-term game will, in the middle, either be going for Colossus tech or Templar tech. Why? Why is that the case? Because the Protoss player needs some kind of AoE to deal with the bio. That's very simple. There's no other good way to deal with bio without Stormers and Colossus. There's other things like armor for Zealots that will help, a really cool blink micro. Maybe some Immortals pop in there. Hey, Dark Templar are pretty nifty. Yeah, but still has to be Colossus or has to be Templar. What we're going to see out of Maru is that he's going to be opening up in some standard ways. He's going to be dipping into the usual bio plus medivac. But when he sees Templar, he's going to go for Widow Mines as an amazing tool to do non-stop aggression. And even when he doesn't see that Templar tech, he sees Colossus in large numbers, he goes, Mines not going to be as good because they get outranged by the Colossus. It's very easy to snipe them. But Maru still does non-stop aggression in other ways. Let's see it all in action. So we'll talk about the Colossusing later on. But first, I want you to see this opening. This game is going to set the tone of the entire show. We have Deer in the top left corner. We have Maru in the top right. Maru is 1 game away from qualifying for the round of 8. So this is a big match for him. Now, there's a lot of different openings that we're going to see in this episode. I don't want you to be too stressed out about what the correct one to do is, or is there a big shift that I need to make for my style? No, not at all. Everything that a Terran player opens with will converge to 3 barracks with add-ons and 1 starport making medevacs. So let's go to the Maru cam. Maru goes expand, double barracks, very common thing to help us stay alive. He spots his opponent doing something very expandy. Maru gets a third barracks, as is to be expected. He's not getting a bunker because he just sees a super fast Protoss expansion, but he's going to get the bunker eventually. Subsequently, he's going to get 2 refineries up so that he can get his factory and other tech. We're seeing these Marine moves outs increasingly popular because of the fact that there are really not a lot of Terran units, or excuse me, not a lot of Protoss units. It's generally a 1-gate defense like this. But more importantly, back home, we see that add-on has constructed itself. These Marines are dead as shit, doesn't matter really. Stems coming out, factories coming out, an engineering bay for upgrades is coming out. Everything that we see is the usual thing that a Terran player performs. Now, if you're looking at the production tab, you're seeing a robotics facility. Don't worry, this is just a fast scout. We will indeed be seeing armor and a Twilight Council very soon, so have no fear. Maru, wow, look at that. He's getting up add-ons on 3 barracks. Huh, he's getting the upgrade. Has just 1 refinery at the front. He's a little worried about potential Dark Templar, but in just 30 short seconds we'll be pausing this game because we have seen everything that we need to. Marines, Marauders, Combat Shield, Concussive Shell, the usual mixture of things. And now we stop. No, I need the reactor to go up so my OCD doesn't go crazy. Perfect. An SCV tries to sneak in and doesn't see anything. This is the usual tension point in Terran vs. Protoss. This is the point from which all important decisions come. Why is that? Because Maru just now has the ability to get medivacs. These provide amazing maneuverability to attack, to pick off key defenses, to scout, to see what units the enemy's making. It allows retreating. It's the ticket to attacking, the medevac. But we still don't know the important choice that Protoss is making. Again, contributing to the tension of the 10-minute mark. Is he going Templar or is he going Colossus? We don't know. We don't know yet. And here's the big moment for Maru. He's going to blindly just get a reactor add-on on this factory. He's going to do this almost every single game. He's not going to rush for it, just when he can afford it, but there it is. Very importantly, this is going down before Barracks 4 and 5. Before this command center. Before a lot of the other things that Terran players typically get. Down this goes. It even gets scouted. Now, most players nowadays are rallying into the main base in case there's a Warp Prism counterattack. I'm not that worried about that. Let's take a look at the front of the base. Oh, what do you know, 3rd Command Center. There's Barracks 4 and 5. That's the usual stuff. What we are seeing is that, indeed, Deer is going for a bigger gateway play. He's going for one of the less common moves, which is to go for Immortal Blink Sentry, a good defense. But of course, this is going to transition very elegantly into charge, upgrades, Templar, etc. And this is really the big decision that Maru's looking for. Am I up against a Templaring dude or a Colossusing dude? Let's check it out. Assumption is that it is Templaring, and out the mines will come. Everything rallied into the main, and when we have enough, we shoot on up. Shoot up on up. What's the purpose of mines? It's going to become increasingly clear over time. I selected this game because we don't see a lot of Zealots initially. We see a lot of Zealots eventually, and the Widow Mines are Zealot eaters. We see that, well, just by glancing up here, it's a massive upgrade build from Deer. Huge upgrades, heavy defense that doesn't require lots of gas, but soon enough, Templar are going to be coming up. What we're going to see right now is just a very simple example of why the medevac is good. Allows us to step forward to kite. What do you know? There's the storm coming up. Even though this Marine Marauder troop is ill-equipped to win this battle, it's still taking as many advantageous engagements as it can. And as these zealot numbers begin to rise, as charge pops out, we pause in just a short second. We see these mines just creating a nice retreat path. Here is the important thing to note. The big damage dealers in this matchup from the Protoss point of view are the Colossus and the Templar. Storming, swiping. It's pretty straightforward. But the reason those two units are considered the big damage dealer is the Zealots provide this front line to buy just a little bit of time for these for the Storms to be in really good positions, for the Colossus to be guaranteed a few extra shots. I'm not going to use the term meat shield because this is not an MMO. Zealots actually do considerable damage as well. But the added benefit that the Zealots do is, again, providing the Stormers a good opportunity to storm and the Colossus a good opportunity to coloss. But the Mines rip the Zealots to shred like that, allowing this Bioforce to just trundle forward with ease. We haven't quite gotten to see the big mine shots pop off yet, because Maru's done a very good job of just being an attacker. And at this point in time, I think this is the most elegant moment to highlight why Templar and Colossus are really desirable, because it's so damn important for us to actually be able to hold off these sort of non-stop attackaroos. The mine count's starting to stockpile up. It's already looking good for Maru. Fortunately, this game continues to go on as Deer has snuck a bottom expansion and is going to begin getting a lot of wealth. See Stalkers coming up. Let's go ahead and cut this game forward a little bit. Everything back home is kind of going as expected. We have 5 barracks churning out units. We see a surprising amount of Marauders. Marauders are great against everything but Zealots. Oh wait, oh yeah, we got Widow Mines. Alright, cool, we're good. This starport has been very active. Typically, especially with this base down, we would see a Terran player already have 3 more barracks. Not the case at all. It's quite expensive to be churning out of these 2. So great, it's Marauder heavy force, dictated by the fact that, you know what, we just don't really have that many reactors. And soon enough, we see that Deer has more or less broken through. But without an observer, it's very hard for Deer to actually advance forward. Notice that this puts another gas pressure on the Protoss player. Normally the observers are used to deal with drops, to scout the front, but now they actually need to be in the right over the main army. Maru has a lot of opportunities to pick this off. As the gas has to continue to be spent on the observers, there's not enough gas for big expensive units, so the Zealots continue to pop out in large numbers. It's a very subtle little switch, but one of the most important consequences of going for this heaviest style. And you'll notice continually how many scans there are. And Deer hasn't really gotten the opportunity to walk into these mines, but you'll see when it happens, you're just like, geez, that's good.
Upgrade complete.
There's a few mine hits that land that are just insane. They're just absolutely insane. Continuing to kite, continuing to eat storms, Marauders doing a good job of that. Still mainly Stalkers being built from Deer, who I think is dealing with this very impressively. So you can get the basic gist of the style. Without any Colossus to really smash this down, the mines can just provide a point to continually step forward and back against. Okay, here is the first opportunity we really get to see the Zealots waltz into things. Here's 5 Zealots. Not a ridiculous amount of Zealots by any means. But look, that's 1 mine hit. God, I paused it at just the perfect frame. See you later, Zealots. Do you see how much damage this is dealing? 1 mine hit, goodbye to 3. Another mine hit, picks off the last one. The Zealot that so valiantly charged forward. And suddenly, these very key units, Immortals, Stalkers, Sentries, Templar, that are used to having this wall of Zealots to protect them, are very vulnerable.
Upgrade complete.
So great, we see adding on the barracks. Good stuff. Pretty standard stuff. No ghosts. No nothing. Maru just really relying on macro. You see the mines just ripping apart those zealot numbers. Maru has inappropriately not scouted this at all, and probably thinks that he can just win here. And that's why I love this game. Oh, we almost got to see a big hit. That's fine. I mean, you're seeing that the mines are still being produced throughout this whole thing, and it's just a very much so endless battle mechanic. It's great. It's like Battle Los Angeles, the game, the movie. Eventually, Maru does get repelled. He has some annoying counterattacks going on. But as he gets his Ghost Academy up, he just adds on some more ghosts. Some dropping just to make sure he can get into a good position. These drops function very much so like Terran versus Zerg. Provides an opportunity for all the Protoss units to be held back so the mines can get into a good position. And what has been a non-stop stream of Marine Marauder mine suddenly gets the addition of just a few ghosts, and Maru destroys this so easily without ever needing to know about that bottom expansion. Now, I'm going through this rather quickly. We're not really getting to see the... Oh, yeah, we are. Never mind. Ignore everything. Oh, thank goodness. The one thing that kind of stinks about watching a player as exceptional as Deer is that Deer doesn't let us see the whole damn point of the strategy. That mines chew through zealots like that. This last little connection, we get to see the zealots evaporate. Deer has had extremely patient, amazing, Code S champion level control all game long. And then here's one slip. One little slip. Here's 1, 2, 3 mines. See ya later, zealots. Immortals, a unit used to having a line of zealots to protect it at the front, is rather dead. Fantastic. Clears it like it's nothing. Never even needs to know about this hidden expansion. The Deer achieved uncontested. Stunningly impressive play. Absolutely beautiful. GG. So let's look at the start of another game. So we can see how things might happen a little differently in the opening. Let me get it loaded up right now. I believe it's versus... Oh god, which one is it? Is it this Heavy Rain game? I hope this is the right one. I watched a lot of his games, and now they're a little bit jumbled in my head. I'll find it's like, this is good. There we go. Nice. So we saw just now in this first game is we saw any old opening, we didn't care too much about it, sprinted right up to the 10-minute mark. Templar or Colossus. And we saw Templar be the choice for Deer. And Maru's responding to this by getting mines. We saw the mines happen when? Directly after the core convergence point for Terran. 3 barracks with add-ons, 1 starport making medevacs. Right after that point, reactor with the mines. I'm liking snapping today. What we're going to see in this game is we're going to see a different opening out of Maru. He's going to be opening Reaper. He's going to be doing a little poking and scouting. None of this super fast command center. And guess what? He's up against a 5-gate Blink Stalker potential all-in. Not only are we going to see him hold it off, but we're going to see him transition into mines. So let's watch just the opening in this final few seconds of part 1. Fantastic. So, again, we want to think of concepts and convergence points. Conceptually, we want to get mines for the mid-game, when the Zealots actually become an intimidating threat. Not earlier, because our Marine Marauder can easily kite slow Zealots without concern. Maru goes for a Reaper to scout, very common on this map, follows up with a second barracks, a barracks with reactor, and a third barracks. Looks totally different But remember the convergence point. 3 barracks with add-on and a starport getting medevacs. The big old convergence point. Now this fine friendly Reaper is trying to find out if there's a Twilight Council, if there's a robotics facility, what kind of tech choice it'll be. Maru feels comfortable enough to delay this bunker a lot. And with just a single gas geyser, Maru fleshes out the rest of his tech, gets stim going, begins producing Marines and Marauders, and successfully gets a scout in. That's not super critical, because we're going to see many of the same moves from Maru, taking out this rock tower. Continuing to build Marauders, Marines, and of course, etc. There's the factory coming up. Second and third geysers, very likely to follow up. I should actually say that every time. The convergence point really is 3 barracks with add-on, a factory, or excuse me, a starport with an add-on, and 3 refineries. Mining games. SCV Scout, I'm not that worried about that. You don't have to be a supremely amazing player to be aware. Now you're probably up against some sort of annoying Blink Stalker play. Now, cool, we see some mines coming up. These are very good against Blink Stalker plays, especially 5-gate ones. But mines are also part of our mid-game strategy. We get lots of them if we're going to be up against a Templaring player. And after our opponent goes Blink, it's very likely that that's exactly what he's going to do. See the add-on for the factory. We see Marines, Marauders, all the things being produced. Zest is extremely scary this game. I mean, Maru has to work quite hard to stay alive right now. But down the line, it's going to look easy. We're just looking at the opening now. Building this medevac one at a time, even trying to maybe sneak out some mines. Why? Because our opponent likely does not have detection. It's very hard for him to have detection. There's this weird standoff here. Hey, what do you know? We're almost there. Almost to that convergence point with these medevacs out. Look at how patient Maru is. Maru's really not engaging until he has those 2 medevacs. He's not stimming to try to rush in there, being very safe and slow on his stims. Building depots for spotting, and right when he starts to feel good, he's going to first cut left to try to chase away these stalkers. And look back in the main base. 3 add-ons have been completed. We have 1, 2, 3 refineries, and now we're getting that reactor. Oh, nice. So what I wanted to illustrate with this first 12 minutes of our second game is that Maru was doing a different opening against something completely different under a lot of pressure when he was under none the last game. And yet still we have this very important convergence point. 3 barracks with add-on, 3 geysers, 1 starport making a reactor. Right after that, factory gets the reactor to begin to make mines. We've done that as a sort of backward-looking thing. Now looking forwards, we want to ask ourselves the following question. Are we up against Templar or Colossus? Very intuitively, the answer, with 5 gates of Blink Stalker, is almost certainly going to be Templar. You can go for Zealot Legs and for Storm and make great use of those 5 already built gateways. So when we return, we'll see Maru not just identify that our theory is correct. He'll identify that he's seeing charge and stormers and all that stuff. But we'll also see, in the second segment, how Maru begins to change what he's doing when the inevitable transition to Colossus happens. Stay tuned, because part 2 is coming up.